Welcome back to Beyond the Aesthetic. Thanks for tuning in to episode 3.
So today we're going to be talking about fast fashion. It's something that has made trends and style a lot more accessible, but it's also tied to overconsumption, sustainability issues, and labor exploitation.
And we want to talk about it honestly, the pros, the cons, and everything in between. So what exactly is fast fashion?
I mean, I think there's a lot of different definitions to it, but I think for the majority, we can all agree it's something fast fashion. It's quick, it's affordable, it's definitely very trend driven in clothing and accessories, and it's overall was made and created to make fashion more accessible.
Definitely. You know, it's things that I think are, like you said, created kind of quickly to be more accessible so that it's at a lower price.
Yes.
But it's also, because of that reason, things that end up not lasting you very long.
Right.
They need to be replaced often, and it kind of encourages a cycle of needing to buy and wanting to buy more because you're just going through things so quickly, right? And so I think fast fashion originally was like something so fun and inventive that came along, and it made fashion a lot more convenient to the normal everyday person. You know, not just celebrities and pop stars and stuff, but over time, we've kind of seen it lead to overconsumption, having a huge impact on the environment, and also leading to labor exploitation.
Right. Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point that, and this is something like we talk about in my classes, like my fashion classes, since I'm minoring in fashion. But it is interesting to hear, like, it started off as a really good thing, and I think fast fashion at its basis and its core is a good thing. It's clothing that's affordable and accessible, but I think now what it's turned into, because of how fast trends move now, because of things like social media, and especially with like micro trends, which are really solely social media trends, where, you know, fashion trends are already so quick, maybe 3 to 6 months. Micro trends are like even less than that. So I feel like the turnaround now is just so fast, and I feel like that's now where we're really seeing the swiftness and like just how quickly trends are changing, and really seeing this topic of overconsumption come up. Because I definitely feel like it's not really something we're talking about, because it's maybe something we weren't really dealing with before.
Yeah, I think especially talking about, like you said, the micro trends, it's like trends were already a thing that came and went.
Right.
Going with the seasons, going with years. You could look at things, specific hairstyles, makeup style, obviously clothing, accessories. Now with micro trends, it's like on steroids. And I think that, you know, for the everyday person, there's a lot of pressure to like stay on trend, to stay up to date with things, to stay fashionable. And that means keeping up with these trends sometimes.
Right.
Or maybe it doesn't necessarily mean that. Maybe we're talking about, does that mean it? But I think there's a pressure,
of course,
to want to keep up with it, right?
100%. I think especially if you're somebody that does like fashion and is into clothes already, I do feel like, unfortunately, that is one part of the fashion world, is it's like people like wanting to have, some people adequate like personal style with having the latest trend and having the biggest thing. And I feel like that's something the fashion industry has kind of shifted to. But I don't necessarily think keeping up with all of the trends is necessarily what's going to make you fashionable.
Yeah.
And it's not to say I don't participate in trends. I think everybody participates in trends. I feel like if you say you do, I'm like, you're lying. Because they're everywhere. You know, there's so many. It literally makes me think of The Devil Wears Prada, where it's like there's so many trends and so many things that fashion kind of decides for you, for the average person, even if you're not into fashion, that it's like, yeah, well, somebody decided this color was in, so that's why you're wearing it.
Yeah.
You just didn't know. And kind of like the trickle down of it.
Totally.
But yeah, it is really interesting to see kind of, I think, with the topics of sustainability coming in, and like we're seeing the effects it's having on the environment and labor exploitation. Like, I feel like people are kind of starting to wake up and be like, oh, it shouldn't be this way, to this level at least.
Yeah, because I think, you know, talking about the environment is one thing, and I think we can kind of come back to that, but I also want to talk about the impact it has on people, right? So like, in order to keep up with these trends in mass production and pushing it out quickly, because again, they come and go so quickly, you need to be on top of them. it's like labor exploitation, and the people working in these factories making the garments are overworked, oftentimes in factories and buildings that don't have AC. They're not given breaks. They're not given lunch breaks, water
not getting
breaks.
paid anything.
Oh my God. Yeah. The pay in itself also horrible. So it's like, at what cost are we trying to push fashion and staying cool and trendy and being cute, but also it literally comes at the cost of like human rights to an extent.
Yeah,
because
no, it does.
Maybe you're getting that super cute cheap shirt from H&M or even Zara, but at what cost when the people making them are working under inhumane conditions?
Right, 100%. And I do think that not everybody thinks of it at that level. And I do think it's important to have that conversation of like the blame can't be put on one people.
Absolutely.
Or one person. But I do think it is important to like think about those things, and also you kind of almost have to like retrain yourself to be like, do I really need all these clothes just because they're trending? Or am I conditioned to want them? Or do I actually want them? Or is it because it's what I'm seeing on social media? It's what I'm seeing in front of my face 24/7, but it's like, do I actually even like these things? Am I actually going to wear this for like even the next 6 months or
also,
a year? Like,
sometimes too, I feel like, depending on you and how you feel, but I think also there's some trends that like I would love to participate in, but I just know they wouldn't look good on me. Yeah. And sometimes that's like a blessing in disguise, because I know that it wouldn't suit maybe my body type, or it's not what I would consider like flattering or making me feel confident.
Yeah, or your style.
Or my style. Yeah. I'm like, not a trend I'm gonna participate in, right? Like, this might date me a little bit, but when I was younger, like teenager, middle school, all the girls were teasing their hair, right? Like huge. And it's like, I just did not like that look for me. Like, I loved it for the girlies that did it. Iconic. It was such a staple, but like, it was not the thing for me, right? And I just didn't participate in it for that reason. And there's a lot of little things like that too. Like the jorts, I love them. I love the baggy jorts right now. They're so, it's in style.
Yeah.
But I'm like, girl, I just don't know if they're going to be fitting me right. And for me, it's like a trend I'm going to skip out on for that reason. But I think that's sometimes taking a step back to think about, is this a trend that does even kind of benefit me in the way? Is it flattering? Will it work for me? Will I wear it in the next few years to come? And if not, maybe taking that as an opportunity to like, it's not something I need to participate in, and, waste money on, so to say, and contributing to this fast fashion kind of relay race.
Yeah, no, exactly. But that itself is kind of like a muscle you have to like train, and
totally.
Like a mental like control, like
a practice.
Yeah, no, it really is though, because like we're conditioned to literally just want to buy things and spend money all the time. But it's like, you kind of, I feel like that honestly is a part of like getting mature, and also just having to like teach yourself and learn that self-control of be like, okay, I can go to the store or I see something online and be like, that's cute, she's super cute, but I don't need her. Like, I don't need it. And
it's hard to do.
And like, it is. It is really
crazy
hard. that is, it sounds so simple, but it is unfortunately hard, to do because of just how much we're seeing. Everything is an ad. Everything is shoppable now with social media. Like, it's so easy now more than ever to overconsume, to spend a lot of money that a lot of people don't have, and so I do think that mindset in itself is really important to have, and it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, there was I think also there's like a scientific thing to it too, right? Like, I can't be the only one that orders something online and you're like counting the days for it to get here. Is it on its way? Is it out,
it's
to
like
be delivered?
The serotonin that it gives you.
My dopamine levels are like
and it sounds silly because again, like I've seen TikToks about it, but I do think it is true. Like buying yourself, that's why I always see things that like, oh, I was having a hard day, I went online shopping, or I went shopping, and it's like, it is that kind of like dopamine boost that tricks your brain to like, you kind of get a little bit of like a high off of it. And like every now and then it's fine. Like I'm not going to sit here and say I've never done that.
No, for sure.
Like it's
my favorite thing to do.
I'm like, I definitely love to shop. That's true. But I do think that, it's definitely like a slippery slope.
No, it is. And I think there was like a TikToker, someone I had seen once, and like, I can't remember who she is, but plug maybe at some point her name here. But one of the best tips I ever saw was she said that in order to kind of combat this, one thing she would do is like she would go online to her favorite websites, shop, pick out things, stack it up in the cart.
Yeah.
And then in a week or two, she would go back, and if she really wanted those things in, she would let herself pick some out.
Okay.
But that most of the
Sit on
time,
it and think about it.
she would sit on it, and most of the time when she went back to the cart, she's like, I actually don't even like half of these things, you know? And almost 9 times out of 10, like she didn't end up buying anything. And it was like, yeah, had she given into that impulse in the moment, the overconsumption, just the like gratification of making a purchase in that moment, having fun. But she was saying how doing that, kind of like acting that out, still letting herself go through the website, pick things out, still gives her the sense of like a release of kind of shopping, but kind of like window shopping, like,
and mindfully shopping,
and mindfully, right?
Yes.
Because she's waiting. She's saying, all right, I'll give myself a week or two. If my next paycheck, I still want some of these things, maybe I'll buy some of those things.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and like it is such a game changer because a lot of times I go back and I'm like, ew, I don't even like this anymore. Or like, you know, I see it and I'm like, yeah, it's cute, but I really don't need it, you know? And it totally makes me feel better because it's like I still got that thrill of shopping a little bit, but I actually didn't spend any money and I didn't end up kind of contributing to that like overconsumption.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a tip.
No, yeah, that's a good tip. And honestly, I feel like that's something I've been doing for a long time that I didn't even realize. Like, literally, if I went on my like Safari right now, I have tons of tabs of like clothes or shoes or just like other maybe makeup stuff I like want to buy, and I will kind of just let it sit there and maybe buy the things that I really actually want eventually. So that's something I would do a lot, but also that thing of like kind of like keeping a wish list, which I know it kind of sounds crazy like having this list, but I do feel like it's easy to do, to rack up all these things, but I'm not buying everything on the wish list, you know. And it's actually something I've started to see, kind of similar to you, a trend of like on TikTok, I'll see there's like a few girls I follow, but also sometimes on my For You page, I'll randomly get like, this is my wish list of like stuff I wanted to buy. Sometimes it's like on Depop, or sometimes it's just like a wish list in general. But it's cool seeing it because they're like, I'm doing this so I don't buy them, but I just want to show someone, like kind of almost like curating, like these are all the things I've been wanting to buy, but I'm not buying all of them. Or, you know, maybe I'm going to buy 1 or 2 things, or maybe someone can tell me, is this thing good? Is it worth the money? Like, so that's something I've seen a lot of people doing as well that I think kind of helps, again, like combat the overconsumption and the need to buy everything.
Yes.
You know, and just mindfully shop a little bit.
Yeah.
Better.
And I think that's a really good transition too, to kind of talking about, are there other more cost-effective options, you know, to still shop but not contribute so much to overconsumption, or having a more sustainable option, which I definitely think is thrifting, and thrifting as a resistance to like these fast fashion trends and just fast fashion over pollution as well. Love thrifting. I mean, who really doesn't thrift at this point, right?
I know. No, right. And I think I like what you said about like contributing to like I think people forget, or maybe some people don't know, like fashion in general, all the clothes is the number one contribution to like landfills and waste. And some of that clothes also ends up being thrifting. So, you know, because there's literally too many things in the world, so many clothes and stuff that like in landfills that we just don't use anymore, people get rid of. So that's why I definitely think thrifting as resistance is a great option, because it's usually more affordable. You're giving clothes a new life, and also taking your clothes to the thrift store. Like, I know that's something we'll do a lot as well. Because it's kind of nice knowing, like, you know what, I'm not wearing this anymore, or it's maybe something that doesn't fit me, but hopefully somebody else can wear it, you know, or buy it.
And give it a life and let it live outside of my closet.
No, exactly.
Yeah, no, I love thrifting too, because I feel like it also gives you a chance to really build your own personal style in a fun, unique way that kind of lives outside of trends.
Yes.
And also sometimes 100%. Is more timeless, really, because you're not so focused on trends. I know that when I'm thrifting, a lot of times I'm actually looking at quality, right? Like, how does the fabric feel? How does it hold up? What's the structure of it? How does it fit me, right? Can I wear this in a different way? There's times I've bought things at the thrift store that I'm like, oh, I'll cut this and it'll fit me good here and this. And it allows me to be so much more playful than I ever am with clothes that I buy from the department store or, you know, right off the rack from these stores. And I think that that's so much fun because actually a lot of my favorite pieces are from the thrift store.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And I do think, like, if you're somebody that likes fashion and maybe is a little bit more creative, I feel like that's why thrifting is so fun because I will say, like, I've seen memes and stuff, or I've even had friends that'll, like to thrift, but it's, like, it's kind of hard. Like,
no, for
it
sure.
is, like, you have to definitely be into it. Like, it can be work.
You have
know,
to be
like,
creative.
It's a little dirty sometimes. It's sometimes a little bit smelly.
The thrift store has its own smell.
You're looking at stuff that's super outdated and not cute. So it's like you have to have the vision, like you said. But that's why I think it's fun because it really challenges yourself to look at like what is my style or what pieces am I looking for in your own little bubble that of just outdated or not all outdated, but you know, just not trend based clothing, you know? And so I do feel like that's why I enjoy thrifting a lot. I know that's like why we like to go because it is fun, even though it's like kind of a little bit of a challenge, but I feel like that's...
And I think that adds to the funness though too, because exactly. I feel like I earned it. Like I worked for this outfit or these pieces. I put the time, the labor into it.
You scoped them out of all the stuff.
Use my imagination.
Literally hunted for them. That's what it feels like sometimes, but it does feel worth it, honestly. Like when you leave the thrift store and you found like a really good piece or maybe like a few things that you're like, okay, wow, I feel like I'm going to wear these things for a long time or like I'm excited to wear them. And like we said, it's affordable. And that's what's interesting about thrifting is I feel like we can all kind of goes into another topic with thrifting. But I think we've all, especially the last 5 years, have really seen thrifting kind of transform into this mass market thing. Obviously, thrifting is still thrifting. It's not like department stores or traditional fashion stores. It's still its own thing, vintage, secondhand clothing. But we've definitely seen the market change to, you know, before thrifting wasn't always cool. It wasn't always trending. And it wasn't thrifting and Goodwill and secondhand clothes wasn't necessarily made to be this thing where it's like, I'm going to go find these vintage pieces and stuff. It's like, no, it was out of necessity. And I
affordability.
Think that, yes, I think people forget that sometimes. And I feel like that's the one con of thrifting becoming cool that we've seen is that, yes, it's so cool. Like I love going to a thrift store and seeing a bunch of younger kids or just a bunch of different people now that it's, you know, more trendy. But I do think it is really hard because with that prices go up, you know, I think we can all agree Goodwill prices, Savers prices, they're not what they used to be. And, you know, it's still cheaper than usually when you go to the mall or like a department store. But, you know, for the people that are really need these clothes and need them to be affordable, it's a lot more than what it used to be. And I feel like that is the one really unfortunate part of it becoming a lot more popular.
Yeah, no, you're right. You know, the impact on those that, like for some of us, it's an option to be more sustainable, right? It's an option to be more eco-friendly, to be more mindful as we shop. But there are communities that it's not so much of an option, but it's like, this is what I can afford and where I can afford to shop. And so I think, being definitely more mindful of that as well. That like, for us, it could be a little bit more of a luxury and a fun place and creative, but there are individuals there that this is what they can afford. So I think one of the best ways to still give back to that and combat it a little bit is by continuing to donate your things there as well. So that there is some more of that. Cycle going and those options and not just so much taking from it, right?
No, that's so true. That's definitely such a good point.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of goes to our next topic, which is like fast fashion as inclusion. And I feel like we talked about a lot of the negative parts of fast fashion, and while there is a lot of cons, I feel like there also is a lot of pros to fast fashion.
Oh my gosh, totally. Like I think, you know, one of the things I see a lot of people talk about online is like, you know, not supporting fast fashion because of everything we've mentioned, the overconsumption, the impacts on our environment, the labor exploitation, and like those are very important things. But one of the hardest things, I think, especially being like, when we think of size inclusion and being plus size, is like, there aren't a lot of options that are accessible to all these different sizes, right? A lot of extended sizes.
Yeah. Especially sustainable too. That already makes it even harder. Yeah.
So it is sometimes so expensive. And it's like, maybe I'm not specifically the community that can only afford Goodwill. Like, no, I can afford other options as well. But like, that doesn't mean I can always spend, you know, $200 on a pair of jeans. Like, I can't, right? And so I think it's really interesting too to to note how fast fashion, it has its cons, but one of the pros is that it has more size inclusion, and not just size inclusive options, but trendy size inclusive options.
And cute. Yeah.
Cute. I've been seeing this ongoing trend too on TikTok where a lot of like plus size people that were even, you know, a little chubbier when they were kids, that it's like, why was I 12 and I look like I'm working at a like law office and it's them in like a business suit? And I'm like, yes, because that was probably the only clothes
Options
that fit you
yeah.
even as a kid. And it's so funny, and we can laugh about it now, but it's like horrible because that's all that was available to us then, maybe as a child, and even as an adult. Like, okay, maybe I am actually working in an office now, but that isn't like, you could still look cute in the office. You know, I still want cute, trendy options.
Exactly. And it makes me think of this video that you sent me. I can't remember the creator's name, but if I do, we'll insert it.
Yeah.
But specifically for Coachella, you know, we're talking, I saw her talking about, she's like, you know, and specifically this girl is a fashion content creator. So like she's into fashion, that's her thing. And in the video, she talks about like, you know, I want cute stuff too. I want cute festival, you know, Coachella vibes, outfits. And I don't always try to buy fast fashion. And she's like, but I literally have no choice. She's like, because no other brands are making clothes that one fit me, or kind of like festival vibes, or just, you know, those types of outfits. And so it's hard because it's like, some people literally don't have an option because these super sustainable brands are either super expensive and it's just like, no, I'm not going to drop like $500 on a dress, you know? So that's already one thing, is the pricing, but also then when you take in sizing,
right? So
then it's like, so who are these things for?
Right. Or where am I supposed to shop, you know? And I think it also contributes to a bigger conversation that like the misconception that just because somebody is bigger, plus size, that it's like they wouldn't want to wear certain things, they wouldn't want to show certain parts of their body. But it's like, girl, let me be the one to make up my mind on that.
Exactly.
Because you'd be surprised. Me or obviously other influencers or normal people are a lot more comfortable and confident than you would probably think.
Yes.
Let us have the option to these things.
100%. And I do think that's what sucks, is like when you talk, we can talk about, you know, I've seen videos and things, even when you go to the store, when you look at in department stores or, you know, fast fashion stores in person, mall stores, like you see the plus size section, it's either really small or it's completely outdated, you know, or like
ugly
grandma wear. And it's just, like, that's not fair to assume like that just because somebody is bigger that they're not going to want to stay in trend or wear the cute things just like everybody else.
No, totally, you know, and I think that that's where fast fashion kind of does thrive a little bit, as horrible as it sounds to say. But it's like, what are my other options, right? I think about like, even like Fashion Nova. I feel like they're a great example of like a fast fashion brand, I guess, you know, and website that probably definitely contributes to overconsumption and all the things we're talking about. But like also, they really do have trendy options for a lot of sizes, actually.
Yeah, they actually have good plus size options. And I remember because in that video, that's the girl brought up Fashion Nova. That's like one of the few brands I always see.
You could be a baddie at any size.
Yeah, plus size creators talk about that. They're like, I can rely that Fashion Nova is going to have something in my size that's cute and trendy and
oh my gosh,
fun.
yes. Like even, you know, recently, like last year, my husband and I were going to like a family event in Mexico, and it was a nicer event. And I wanted like a nice dress, but I still wanted a like cute, trendy dress. And I feel like a lot of the dresses I was finding were either like giving like mother of the bride, or it was like extremely like sexy. And it was like, there was just nothing in the middle that was like, maybe I want to be a little bit sexy, but still like cute and classy, but like also trendy and fun. And it just like, there was no vibe for it. And honestly, I never shopped at Fashion Nova too much before, but I ended up buying a dress from there because it fit the vibe perfectly, and it fit great. And then like later, we recently went to Gaga's concert, right?
Oh, yes.
That's where I got my dress from too, which was from Fashion Nova. And it was so cute. And it was just like, it's not always my first go-to. I definitely try to find like, you know, other brands that I think are a little more ethical. Also, I try to shop my closet, which is like just thinking about how I can wear things differently, reuse them, restyle them in a different way. But I had a very clear vision for Gaga, and I was like, you know what? I need to fit the Gaga vibe. I really wanted that like lady man, you know, vibe moment. I wanted like the red latex, leathery, and Fashion Nova came through, you know. But I think that proves the point too, that it's like, it might not always be your first choice and you might not always want to contribute, but when they have the options for us that are trendy and also affordable, like what other option am I left with?
What else am I supposed to do?
Right. I'm not trying to go to the Gaga concert like a nana. If I was one, for sure, but like I'm not,
right,
so I'm trying to serve looks like all the other baddies.
You're like, I want to be cute.
Exactly.
No, I 100% agree. And I think you also bring up another good point with, trying to also shop in your closet. I feel like that's another thing we're conditioned to, or even taught, like growing up, okay, we're going to this event or going to this thing, you need to have a nice outfit.
Yeah.
And I think that's true, but it doesn't mean I always need to go out and buy a new outfit. You know, like buying and stuff for my closet, or shopping in my closet, like you said, and kind of trying to like style and rewear things in a different way. Because I do feel like, honestly, some of my favorite outfits and stuff I've made are through times where I've had to like kind of force myself to be like, okay, you're not buying a new outfit, put something together from your closet, and I'll rewear something like that I haven't worn in a long time. And that's actually what I did for the Gaga concert. I hadn't worn that dress in a long time, and I was like, oh, perfect, let me wear this dress and stuff. But yeah, that's definitely something that I try to do and be better at as well.
Yeah, no, I think, it's especially shopping in your closet, I think is like another way to combat some of that fast fashion. And there's been a lot of times, for sure, sometimes out of necessity of like, I really don't want to and maybe can't afford something.
You're like, I don't have the funds.
How can I restyle this? And you're right. Like some of my favorite outfits have come from that too. Use a dress I usually wear, like let me restyle it, and now it's a skirt with a different top, right? Or like vice versa. And I even think of like one of our best friends, when we went to the Kendrick concert, like she was actually, her top was a skirt.
Oh, I remember
and she wore it like as like a strapless, it looked like a strapless top. But I think it was actually a skirt, and she just reworked it, styled it with some jeans, and it was so cute. You know what I mean? It was giving summer vibes, like strapless, super cute baddie. But I think that's a really fun way to also kind of start to combat things, because chances are you have something in your closet.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, or if you are going to buy something, maybe try to buy something from the thrift store or there's something secondhand. Because I feel like that's something I saw, like we said, it's obviously Coachella festival season. Everyone's buying their outfits, which is fun. That's such a fun part. And I'm never going to be somebody that's like, you shouldn't be buying anything for the festival. Because I'm like, come on, like that is part of the festival experience. You want to have a cute outfit.
It's a vibe,
especially with Coachella. But I do like seeing more people going towards buying things like secondhand and vintage, because one, nobody's gonna have the same outfit as you.
True.
And I feel like you could take a lot of pride in that, especially at Coachella, where everyone's kind of wearing the same thing. And it just makes it more unique and fun. And it's like, you might be spending some money for some pieces at Coachella or whatever festival, but it's more sustainable and ethical, and you're saving yourself more money, especially because I feel like festival wear is maybe something you're not going to wear every
you're
day.
not wearing it all the time.
Exactly. So it's like, I can't imagine, like, I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on an outfit that when am I going to wear it again? Maybe another Coachella, but that's really it.
Right. No, that's so true. And I think talking about all those different things kind of comes to a good conclusion point too, of like, is avoiding fast fashion kind of a classist privilege because you have the economic means to not need to feel the pressure or need to just shop, from fast fashion lines? I mean, I kind of think so.
I think so too. And I feel like this is such an interesting topic to me because, like I said, as somebody that's like, my minor is fashion, so I'm in fashion classes, but I'm not there all the time. And this is something I was recently talking to my friends about, that I think sometimes we forget that fashion is such a privileged environment and like thing to study anyways, like people who are in the fashion industry are working, it's a very classist industry if you really think about it.
Yeah, totally.
And I think it is growing more, and it's not so classist and privileged as it was before maybe, but I definitely think those are its roots, and I feel like that goes to show in, we're seeing sustainable shopping in all these brands where it's like, of course, if I could shop sustainably all the time, I would, but I simply can't afford it. It's just the reality. And I think a lot of people can agree with that, that it's like, I can't afford, like you said, to buy $500 jeans or just these pieces that it's like, yes, they are more expensive, but it's a lot to pay, you know, like in the beginning or right all up front. And there's a bunch of sustainable brands that I follow and I keep up with, but you know, I have actually yet to buy from them because they're just really expensive pieces. And I'm like, I'm not at a place that I can afford that yet. I would love to maybe in the future. And it would definitely be something I would love to invest in because it's definitely an investment. And I think it is worth it because a lot of these pieces will last you a lifetime. They'll last you forever, but it can be a lot.
No, totally. I think that, you know, being a more sustainable shopper and having sustainable fashion options 100% comes with a higher price tag. And I do think that the payoff is like these things are supposed to be better quality. They're supposed to be paying the people that make it better and stuff. So I feel like consciously you feel good about it as well, but it's like it's a price tag that's, you know, it's up there and you might have to save your coins for a couple of paychecks. You might have to pay off that credit card a little bit. But I do think it makes me think about like when I was in college, I had got these little red boots from Forever 21 and
RIP.
Oh dude, RIP, because I wore those boots out. But yeah, they were already cheap, like maybe $40. And then they were on sale, so I got them for like maybe $20. Honestly, I think I got them for like 15, but let's say 20. And I loved them. The second I got them, I must have worn them at least 3 times, 4 times a week. They just went with everything, you know, dresses, skirts, jeans, like anything I threw them on with immediately elevated the outfit. But I'm not even kidding. Within like 3 months, the soles were ripping. There was holes. The zipper would get stuck and wouldn't zip up. At one point, like I literally went to like zip it and it ripped like open.
That's crazy.
It was the saddest moment, or one of the saddest moments of my life. But it was funny because I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I paid $20 for them, right?
Yeah, like you're paying for what you got.
I like, literally paid for it. Like, I wore them out. I definitely got my money's worth, my $20 out of them, even the $40 that I didn't pay.
Yeah.
But it made me realize like that's one of the costs to them being so cheap. They're literally cheaply made, cheap material.
100%.
They weren't built to last.
Yes.
And it made me think about like, okay, I want to buy another pair of shoes like that because they went with so many outfits. I felt good in them, confident, comfortable. They were easy to dress up, easy to dress down. I could wear them to class, to my internship, to, you know, go out with friends. So I'm like, okay, I want to buy something similar, but better quality.
Right, that'll actually last
me. And I mean, I looked online, I did some of my research, and I actually ended up getting like some shoes. I can't remember the brand, but obviously a little bit more expensive, closer to like $200. And I remember saving up for them, you know, finally making the purchase. It hurt my bank account a little bit, it hurt my pockets a bit, but it's like I bought those shoes almost like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I still have them. They're still so comfortable. I've worn them too so many years to different cities. I've traveled with them.
Yeah.
Again, I've worn them in the office. I've worn them out with friends. I've worn them on dates, whatever. And not a dent in them. You know, like they've kept their quality. And so at the time, was it like one of my first big girl purchases for a pair of shoes? Absolutely. You know, it was up there. It was expensive. It hurt a little bit. But like to almost a decade later, still have them. And they're still in good condition. And they still look, I mean, maybe not new, but I don't think you would guess I've had them for 10 years.
Right.
It is one of those things where it's like, I get it. I understand, you know, where the cost is coming from and why when you can afford them or when you do save up for them and buy them, the payoff is there.
Yes, 100%.
But it's just not always feasible. And it's not always an option you can do
all the time. And I agree because I feel like we're both kind of like that, where I've definitely, as I've gotten older, learned and like as I find my personal style, things I would want to invest in. You know, there's clothing, and I feel like everyone's kind of like this. But for me, I'm like, there is clothing items that I'm willing to invest more in because I know it's something that's going to last me a long time, like the basics, like jeans.
Oh yeah, a good pair of jeans.
Yeah, like I'll spend the $80 to $100 on a Levi's pair of jeans because I know it's going to last me a lifetime. Like it's just the reality of it. And it sounds like a lot, but that's definitely like the matureness in me now, you know, before, because everything is always like, you know, and also just you get older, you have more money, you can choose and pick where you want to spend your money, you know, and that is something I'm more willing to spend my money on. Or shoes, like you said, like, I'm willing to spend more money and invest in a pair of shoes or a bag, maybe like purses or leather, you know, that it's like, I know it's going to last me a really long time. And something that I always think about is I'll see like these videos on TikTok or memes that it's like, it's so interesting the way the fashion industry changed, because I feel like, you know, we're in this era now where vintage is big and stuff, where it's like, where I feel like we're the ages where it's like our moms or our parents will give us their vintage clothes from the 90s or like the early 2000s or even earlier, you know, that they were when they were a kid or a teenager. And because the clothes and the way they made things were so different then, everything is still like in shape. Like my mom's given me a few of her Coach bags, a Marc Jacobs bag, where it's like they're still in really good shape. And it's like, I've seen memes that are like, wow, like what am I going to give my daughter? Like Shein? Like that's not gonna,
Fashion Nova,
that's not gonna last.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So literally sometimes I think about that. I'm like, that's so funny because it's just so interesting the way just like the quality in the fashion industry has changed.
No,
you know,
it totally
because
has.
of fast fashion and all those things. And it's like, I don't know if we're gonna have some good clothes to pass down to our kids.
No,
just
you're
because
totally
of the
right.
quality difference in clothes now. And even Levi's, perfect example. I still buy Levi's is definitely like a top tier brand for jeans.
Yeah, and iconic.
And I still buy like new jeans from them. But even then, I have a few vintage Levi's jeans or like even vintage like Calvin Klein jeans that I've thrifted that it's like, there's a difference in the quality that it's like, even if I bought from this brand now, it's not going to be the same because it's just different the way they would make the clothes back then.
No, 100%. It makes me think too of like, you know, speaking of our mom, I'm like, okay, fashion baddie, because one of the things that she'd given me was an old pair of Docs that she had, some black Docs that she had. And when I was in high school, like, I feel like Docs are always in style, but
they're, again, another class when
it always
never
comes
go
back in, never goes out of style. She had them and was just like, yeah, you can have them if you want. And it was just like probably one of the best things she ever gave me. I always wore them. I still have them to this day, you know? And I loved them. And I think there is something really cute too about like kind of being given this piece that, you know, your mom or a family member wore. It makes it so special, like that connection. And they're
100%.
definitely like, I have other pairs of Docs that I've been gifted or bought myself, but those are probably my favorite because it was like my mom had them. It was one of her style pieces and like gave it to me, you know? So
no, 100%. And I do feel like that is something I think about because I'm like, well, what am I going to have to pass down that's good quality? I'm going to have to invest in some things, you know? So your kids can have, hopefully, because that's something I would always tell our mom. Like, she did keep a few good stuff, like bags, shoes, but she'll always be like, oh my God, I had something like that. And I'm like, where is it?
Yeah.
Did you keep it?
But I
also get it. You don't know at the time it's going to be trendy or come back.
And that's what I was going to say too, is it's so funny about trends. Also, like, as we're talking about this, it makes me realize how, like, you kind of just like ride the wave with it a little bit because everything comes back into style. So like some of the things that were trendy, you know, in the 90s obviously went out of style in the 2000s, early 2000s, but like come back into style now, you know? And it makes me think like last episode you were talking about Love Story and being obsessed with that. And like right now everybody's obsessed with like Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, right? And everyone's like CBK, the style, the chicness, the
frenzies
minimalism
people were having over the headbands.
Yes, and it's like, but if you look at her style too, obviously it was very trendy for the 90s, but there was also a very like minimalist, timeless aspect to it. And I
100%.
think taking some inspiration from that too, of like maybe investing in those pieces that are timeless, a good pair of jeans, a good basic t-shirt, black one, white one, you know, those are things that like, they're not a trend. They're always going to be in style for it to like fit you good. They're always going to look good. They're always easy to dress up. Yeah.
And that's something we even talk about in fashion. Like those pieces are classics for a reason because they're literally wardrobe like staples.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do see like, I feel like I kind of see something that like you taught me that I feel like you did as you got older. And it's definitely something I've seen in conversation more with fashion is like building the basics in your wardrobe. Like, are knowing where to buy from what. Like, I do feel like more of the pieces I thrift are more fun pieces. I might not always find basics there. I definitely have, but like, you know, kind of building some those basics in your wardrobe, like your favorite pairs of jeans, favorite pairs of shoes, like a flat or a loafer or like a Doc, like things that are just never going to go out of style that you know are going to last a long time.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought up the Carolyn Bessette thing because I literally had a note about that and it's so interesting. And I saw a lot of people talking about this on TikTok, so I'm not going to take credit for it. Like, I'm the only one that thinks this. But I loved this whole conversation that everyone was talking about with her style and just the style overall with the 90s and kind of like the 90s minimalism with Calvin Klein. But it's so interesting because I feel like everyone was so obsessed with trying to copy Carolyn Bessette and recreate her outfits, which I think is fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking inspiration.
A style icon.
Things from, yeah, exactly. Like, she was a style icon and she has become one, you know? So I think it is fun to, like, take inspiration from things. But I saw this video that I feel like explains it so well. And it's like, people are so obsessed with trying to copy her style, but you can't copy personal style. Like, and I feel like that's what she had, you know, like, her pieces were so simple, but the way she chose to style them and, you know, what, like, just the way she put things together, like, it seemed so effortless and cool girl and chic because it was effortless to her.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could put that look together and it will give the same vibe, but I feel like if it's not effortless to you or it's not like your personal style, it's not going to come off maybe as effortless and cool girl and chic because it's not you. You're just trying to be like copy someone else or be somebody else. Yeah. And I get it. I'm like, I'm a Pinterest girl. I love Pinterest. I go to that for inspo. I love seeing like some of my favorite inspos I'll literally see is like model off duties of like, you know, the effortless looks. I feel like those are the things that people are always trying to recreate, but those are literally just everyday casual looks that come off effortless because they're people's personal style. And 100%. So I feel like that's something that's like you can't shape taste, you can't shape personal style. Like, you got to build it on your own. You can copy and emulate it, but it's not going to give off that vibe that we get from Carolyn Bessette or just so many other style icons that it's like you're never going to get that if you don't explore your own style, right? You know, and see like what's going to come off effortless to you because it's going to be different with everyone. Yeah,
and because so much of that is like what is making you feel good, right? What makes you feel confident. And I think that that's the key in combating overconsumption and fast fashion trends is finding those pieces that make you feel good, investing in those pieces, good quality pieces, so that they last you many years to come. Right. And that also leads into developing your like iconic style, your, you know, fashion staples. And 100%, like Carolyn Bessette's a great example. I also think about how like for a long time, I think like Hailey Bieber was one of the girls that, you know, constantly,
everyone loved like her street style.
Yes, her street style. It's very like cute and effortless. And I think everyone likes that vibe of like, did she try or is she just naturally that cool? Yeah. Like I love that vibe. I'm constantly going for it also. But I think, you have to find how it works for you. Cause like some of the things she wears, I could literally copy that exact outfit and I would look like I'm cleaning my house. Like it's like a tank top and like jeans. And I'm like, it does nothing for me. Yeah. But when I style it or fashion, you know, when I style it more for me, it's like I can make it work. Like maybe I'm going to pair it with like, you know, I don't know, a t-shirt underneath it, right? Or like a looser t-shirt that like I tied to the side or something off the shoulder with the jeans that fit me, not just jeans that look good on Hailey Bieber. Exactly. And then now it's like the same vibe, but a different look, right?
Exactly, because you're tailoring it, again, to you, reevaluating like what's going to look good on my body and what's in my closet and what is more of my style, you know?
Yeah. And I think also not being afraid to like rewear things or like my favorite, I'm a Lizzie McGuire stan, and there's that iconic line where she's like, Lizzie McGuire, you're an outfit repeater, you know, and it's so funny because it was supposed to be such a diss and like embarrassing.
She's like, you're an outfit remember.
But she's like, you're worse because you're an outfit remember. And I'm like, exactly, eat them up, Lizzie McGuire.
It's true. And I do think this brings up such a good point where it's like, we feel this pressure to like wear a new outfit for everything, have a new outfit. And maybe it's because we're seeing on the runways or celebrities, but it's like, mama, they have stylists and they have money. Like they don't even own these clothes. They're renting
the clothes,
renting it to wear that day, you know? So it's like, of course it looks cool, but it's unrealistic that you're going to have a new outfit every day and not outfit repeat, you know?
Exactly.
And to me, I'm like, I feel like as we've gotten older and we're talking about building your closet, if anything, I think it's cooler if you can outfit repeat and wear it a bunch of different ways or wear it, you know, because again, it shows like, it's your style. It's your personal style. You're using your wardrobe. You're using your clothes. And it's like, that's what it's meant for. You don't just have clothes to not wear them.
Yeah. It's, you know, you're supposed to wear them. Yeah. And I love that too. And I think I love seeing when like our friends, I think honestly, most of our friend group everyone is like very fashionable in their own way,
stylish
their own
baddies.
style. And I love seeing how they'll wear things because it inspires me too.
Yes.
You know, like
no, it's so true.
I see them wear something and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have thought to like have worn it like
Put it
that.
this way, or
yeah, you know, and then I'm like, oh, you know, I take a mental note for me, like I have a similar shirt to that. I'm gonna mix it up next time to do this. And so I think
100%.
taking inspiration also, like you said, not of course the celebrities and stuff, that's kind of what they're there for and we see them.
Right.
Cool. But I think like from the everyday people in our lives, our friends, our family,
100%.
getting inspo from them, or even looking at like, I love seeing the things that like our tias or our grandmas, our moms were wearing when they were like younger, even now too, but like seeing them, you know, when they were younger, their different personality and taking inspo from that as well. I love that.
No, 100%. I think that's such a good point too. That's something I talk about, like, even with school, I love seeing what people wear to school, especially like when I have fashion classes. I'm like, okay, I know the girls are gonna like dress up or like dress cute, obviously, for fashion school. But yeah, no, it's so fun. Like I definitely think taking inspiration from the things around you, and not even just like obviously people's outfits, but also other things. Like I feel like there's things I'll see in life. I feel like fashion is one of those things where it's like you can get inspiration from like color combos. Like I've literally seen videos of be like, I saw this color combo out in the world and you put it together in an outfit and it was really cute, you know? So I feel like definitely just taking inspiration from the things and the people around you. But that's one thing I love to do too. Like I feel like that's something we do with each other.
Yeah.
And definitely with our friends, but it definitely helps if you have cute, stylish friends.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think also even like challenging yourself to find that in an online community as well.
Yes.
I know last episode we talked a little bit about, you know, to fight beauty standards, like follow people that look like you online. And I think that's a great reason because like it normalizes beauty, but also because it inspires you. Like, how are they dressing? Where are they dressing? Where are they shopping? You know, how did they style this combo or this outfit? I just saw this other TikTok too, which I'm like, shout out TikTok. We're getting all these inspo things from them. But of this girl, which I'm like, I totally related to. She's a plus size queen and she is like a little bigger chested. She was saying it's so hard for her to rock a button down, which I'm like, yes, when they are well fitted, like my titties are about to pop out, right? And it's like not the vibe I'm going for. But if I size up again, because I
it's like
have bigger boobs,
sometimes.
I look like a fucking tent. I'm about to fly away. So it's like, I'm damned if I do or don't.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, this is a little fashion tip I do. She'll size up or something, but then she'll use like I think it's a brooch. I'm like, I don't even know how to say. Okay, a brooch. I'm like, a brooch? She'll use a brooch and because it's bigger, she'll like pull it to the side to cinch it. Yeah. Uses the brooch here and it like, now it cinches her waist right here. And then it's more flattering, more comfortable for her. But also because she's not actually pinning it, it covers her chest where she feels comfortable. But it's like, it looked so chic. And I literally felt like I could hear the angels like, ah, because it was like, I'm going to start doing that and I'll finally be able to start wearing button downs.
No.
And so I think like even, you know, not always just your own friends, but again, looking at people that are similar to you and your size and shape online, how are they dressing? What are they doing? Because you can learn so much from them.
100%. Like so many little fashion tips like that. And I feel like that's such a good one too, because brooches in general, I feel like are in style right now.
Yeah, they are.
So I feel like that's something really fun that it's like, it's a cute little trend, but it's also functional and helps you, you know, wear that to where you feel comfortable and confident in it.
Yeah. And I think also too, like I started following this like local, you know, we're here, we're Phoenix girlies, Phoenix natives. And I started seeing more things too of some of the different girls that I follow online of like doing clothing swaps, you know, or like, hey, this is where I'm going to be at like, you know, I think you went to something recently too with your boyfriend where like, it was like a huge like thrift thing.
Like a market or something. Yeah.
And it's all these people coming out and like selling some of their own stuff or, you know, things that they've curated. And I'm like, yeah, I love that too, because it's another way for us to kind of contribute to sharing and recycling.
Shopping small, locally.
Yes, sustainably. And it's so much fun. I think that's another really cool, fun way to put in, like, you're still kind of shopping, you still get some of that funness to it.
Yeah.
You're still maybe updating your wardrobe, but it's with pieces that are already out and exist, you know, and you're giving them a second, third, fourth life. And it's so cool to think like that.
100%. Or even like yeah, like you said, having clothing swaps with your friends. Like, I feel like that could be something really fun too, or just like your community around you. Because I feel like everybody, you know, you might not want something, but maybe somebody else can give it a new life, repurpose it, wear it a different way that you wouldn't. So yeah, I think all of those ideas are really cool.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's just a good reminder that, like, in all of this, you know, nothing's fully black or white. Like, fast fashion, there's so many cons, but we also can't ignore some of those positives, which is, like, you know, the fact that it is affordable and the fact that there are more size inclusive options. And I don't think it demonizes you to be aware of the cons and still shop there sometimes, because that's what's available to you, right? I think it's just being able to practice more that you don't have to be perfect to be intentional and to be more mindful when it comes to fashion.
100%. And I think you hit it on the nail. It's like being intentional and being mindful. Like, we know, like, I myself am not, if I shop sustainably or not, it's not going to solve the problem. And even if a lot of people don't, you know, it might not change everything, but I do think being more mindful and not consuming as much and, you know, just thinking about the things you're buying and where you're buying them from helps so much. And I think also, yeah, just like remembering those things, remembering, you know, the costs of sustainability and stuff, and that, like, yeah, it can't be solved with one person. Because I see a lot of things on the internet or TikTok where a creator will be like, yeah, I bought this from here, and they'll be like, oh my god, how dare you buy this from fast fashion, like shunning them. And it's like, okay, I get it, but I'm like, this one person, like, just because they bought a shirt from Target or something, like, it's
God forbid.
It's not like it's the end of the world and they're like going to like cause the earth to like, it's just like, you know, just remembering, I feel like those things is like, of course we can hold each other accountable, but it's also important to be realistic.
Yeah, that's you hit it on the nail, being realistic as well. So I love that. I think that that's a great segue for us to kind of start transitioning to the end in our favorite portion, which is the obsession report. So one of the things that I have been so obsessed with is reading, which we have a little book club with our friends. Love all the different books we get to explore and stuff. But also on the side, I read outside of the book club.
Yeah, of course.
And funny enough, I would not consider myself like a total, like, romance girly. Like, those aren't usually the books I navigate towards. But I think our last book in book club, which is a book I picked, funny enough, Parable of the Sower, it was heavy. It was a great read.
It was a great book though, but
I totally recommend everyone to read it. It was like, wow, you know, left me speechless sometimes with like current things we're going through, but it was heavy. Like, I finished it and I just stared at the wall a little bit afterwards. And thankfully, one of my besties let me borrow Abby Jimenez, one of her books. And we read one before, actually, just for the summer.
Yes. Yeah. In book club.
Yes. And I actually did love that one too. But I'm starting to realize, and this is what's part of my obsession report, is I love Abby Jimenez as a writer. She is just so good. And I just finished reading Part of Your World. Ooh, okay. And it was even better than Just for the Summer. Like, I loved it. It was so good. It was just such a nice, a totally needed read after Parable of the Sower, because it was so heavy. It was a palate cleanser. Like, it was fun and it was cute and it was romantic. And I just felt like I believed in magic again after reading that book.
Yeah, it gave you some hope.
Yes, you know, and I just feel like I'm like, okay, I'm going to read all her books. Like, I'm in love with her. Me and my bestie are going to be sharing them. You know, she has her own little book club too. So it's funny, within our book club, and then she and I share things. So
got a lot of books.
We got a lot of books rotating in rotation here, but I'm like obsessed. And I know this isn't a new thing. I know there's like a lot of people that love Abby Jimenez's writing. Yeah. But I'm new to it. And so if I could just share it with any of the girlies out there, like, you need a light read, a summer read, a beach read, or just something fun, Abby Jimenez approved. Yes.
Period. No, I love that. And I do think it's important to, like, if you're somebody that reads a lot, it's nice to have those books that, like, or a palate cleanser, an easy light read. Because it's like, sometimes you want to read without reading. Like, you want to do the active reading, but not something super heavy, or it's like I'm investing a lot into. It's kind of how I think about, like, with TV shows. Sometimes I want to put on, like, a trashy TV show where it doesn't take a lot of brain power, but it's still, like, entertainment. And I feel like the same goes for reading.
No, totally.
So I'll definitely have to check it out. I did like the book we read of hers for book club. Yeah. So definitely. I think, okay, for my obsession report, this isn't new because it's huge, or it shouldn't be new for other people, but it's new for you. I don't know if you started watching it, but The Pit.
Oh my god. Okay, I haven't started watching it.
I need you to watch The Pit. It's so
because you're scaring
good.
me.
Well, no, okay. Well, I'm like, let me preface because then they're gonna think it's like a scary show or something.
Yeah.
It's like a hospital show, like think Grey's Anatomy-esque type of show. I've never watched any of those shows. I didn't ever think I would like them, but then I finally I watched The Pit. I saw how big it was, and they're onto something with The Pit. It's so good. It's obviously such a great show. All the characters are good. There's a lot of things going on. They work in the ER and stuff. But one thing I really like about is how I mean, I'm not a nurse. I don't work in the ER, but what I've heard from professionals in the healthcare and all of that who are nurses, doctors, that it's very realistic. Yeah. And that there's the show itself is so good. There's funny parts, there's sad parts, obviously emotional parts. But what I love is the overall conversation, and it really shows you these are the things that go on in the ER. Some of these ethical debates are these things that happen in the ER, and it's just so good. It really makes you think, and definitely deeper show than I thought it was going to be. But I love it, and I love seeing people talk about it too on TikTok. It's super big. It's won a bunch of Emmys I think last year.
Ooh.
It's a really, really good show, and the cast is amazing. But yeah, I'm obsessed. I think this last Thursday might have been the season finale. I low-key don't know. I won't say anything in case you haven't watched it. But if anybody hasn't watched it, watch The Pit. I do want my sister to watch it because I feel like she would love it. But it's a hospital show. So they're showing hospital stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of blood. It can be kind of queasy. They show surgery.
Yeah, and I'm a baby with that stuff.
So it is, I will say, I guess I just don't care because I'll literally be eating, watching it and they're
God.
have somebody's heart out. I'm I don't know. I'm very desensitized to it. I know that's how not a lot of people are though. But I definitely think maybe just close your eyes for those parts.
I'll just watch it with Diego with my husband. I think he'll tell me when to close my eyes.
It's worth to watch it though. Yeah. If you can get past those parts, it's definitely worth to watch it. It's a really good show.
No, yeah, I do want to watch it because you said it's good. And then also, funny enough, at work the other day we had a town hall. Yeah. And it was online on Zoom. And so everyone at the agency's on it. And in the beginning, it's kind of cute. Our director, our CEO of the company, she everyone's joining and she's kind of just welcoming people. And for small talk, she was hey, in the chat, drop what are you guys watching on TV? What's your favorite show? Drop your favorite show. Yeah, it's actually really cute. She always does that. And the couple other town halls, people just put stuff, and I mean it's interesting, but I've never seen this time. Literally, everything it was just the pit. Everybody was saying The Pit.
They're onto something.
And I was okay, I have to watch this because Leslie's been saying to watch it. And I remember our friends at book club were saying it's good. And then so now, all these people I work with were saying how it's just
damn,
so amazing.
I have to watch it now.
I was I feel left out at this point. I need to watch it. So
yeah, well, definitely
I'm gonna watch it.
Watch it. I would 10 out of 10 recommend if you haven't seen it.
I will say, side note for this, I don't know if you would like it this much, but there's this show, and it's kind of newish, and it's called, oh my gosh, what is it called? I'm totally blinking right now, but, it's called St. Dennis. Ooh, and it's on Peacock. And I think it's on Peacock, and it's also a hospital show in the ER, but it's funny. It's The Office meets hospital. And so I think that's the perfect vibe for me because you really don't see anything crazy there. Yeah. But it is really funny.
Oh, I see it. St. Dennis Medical. Okay. Yeah,
it's so funny. So watch that one too. I feel similar but different,
No, for sure. Okay. No, I'll add that to my list.
Perfect. One other thing I have for the obsession report, and it's so funny because it's another podcast that I actually don't listen to that often. I know she's super popular, but the Call Her Daddy podcast.
Ooh, okay.
Honestly, low-key, I'm just a little bit of a hater. I feel like she's super popular and everyone would listen, and I was whatever, I'm not that interested. And not even when she was interviewing Kamala Harris and stuff. I was girl, it's fine. I'll read the TikToks about it. But she recently had Becky G on, and I love Becky G. I'm just such a stan. And so I was okay, I'm sat for this. I'm gonna watch this. And so I watched it while I was getting ready the other day for work, and it was so good. Yeah. And one, I might be biased because I really love Becky G, but she talks a lot about just a lot of personal things, her life, being Mexican American, her culture, work stuff, family stuff, a lot of things I totally related to, and I think a lot of women and Mexican American women relate to as well. Yeah. But one of the really interesting things she talked about too
I was gonna say,
was
your thoughts on
how
this.
recently, well, not that recently, but yeah, in the last like 2 years or so, her fiance had cheated on her, right?
Yeah.
And it was super
And it
public.
like came out publicly. Yeah.
Which is heartbreaking, even whether it was public or not, but like to go
course.
through that publicly,
In
right?
the public eye, yeah.
And it was one of the first times she's like really talking about it. And it was just so interesting because it sparked a lot of like online discussions because I think she's just happy to be with him, but it was cringy because like when Alex, the host, asked her like, so are you guys back together? And she was like, yeah, girl, like so happy. And it was like, oh, girl, I'm happy for you, but like give us some of the context, right?
I'm happy you brought this up because I had seen a lot of debate about this and I saw a lot of different things. I mean, there's public debate about anything, of course, but this was one where I was actually like, wow, this is actually kind of interesting because basically he cheated on her and they got back together, obviously, which is fine. But
her choice.
What was really interesting about her interview was to me is the way that she kind of was defending herself. And she basically said, you know, a lot of women before were shunned for leaving.
It's so funny you bring that because that's the exact quote.
Yeah, and now they're shunned for staying. And I just thought it was so interesting because I'm like, I do think that's kind of true. But I think what's so ironic with Becky G is I'm like, she's such this powerhouse artist. Her songs are about woman empowerment and this and that. And you decide to do the one thing that like, you know, like you really to put your grounds down, like really stand to it. You don't. And I do feel like people, of course, it's her life. She's a celebrity. She can do whatever she wants, of course. But I do think some people were like just surprised, you know, that it's like it kind of felt contradicting. And it felt contradicting the way that she decided like to defend herself about it. Because to me, it felt like I'm like, look, you can stay or leave. It's all about choice, right? Like you choose what it is you want to do. But I don't think like there should be no shunning or judgment for either or. Don't. But also don't discourage women from leaving.
That's what I was my thing. I think like, the thing that didn't sit well
you should be able to leave if they cheat on you.
Yeah,
and I would recommend you do.
It's a real option. Like I think that's the part that didn't sit well with me. Is I'm like, look, yeah, it's your life. You want to stay with him, stay with him. But I think like some of the online discourse I saw around it is so important to have because people were talking about how like she's been with him for like 10 years, right? She was like 19 when they started dating. Yeah. And some people were saying like in some ways, again, she doesn't owe us this explanation, but I think it's fair. It's a public thing that happened to talk about. It's good discussions for you to have with your friends, with your girlfriends, with the women in your family and stuff about like, yeah, you know, you're going to stay with him, but like, did you even try dating outside of him? And what was that like? Because
have you experienced literally
anything outside of him? Right.
Yeah.
You know, what does that look like? Like 100%. She mentioned in the podcast, I really did like, you know, go to therapy. I even took my ring off, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, girl, I take my ring off every night to go to bed. Like, that did not mean much to me. Like, let's talk more a little bit. Again, she doesn't necessarily owe it to us, but I think if you're going to have the conversation
you're already bringing it up,
and you've had songs that are very much like you're saying, woman empowerment and like he cheated and fuck him and he wants my number. No, girl, goodbye. Like, I think like, let's talk a little bit more about it then. Like, what made you want to say, how did you guys work through it? How did you work past it?
Was there like 100%?
Because I agree. For girls that do look up to her, it's like, I do think that, and honestly, I'm even one of them. Like, I don't know if I'd say look up. We're like the same age, but I feel like, yeah, I like her. I'm inspired by her,
of course.
And so I respect
her as an artist.
Yeah. But I think maybe because of that too, I almost see her as like a girlfriend, and I'm just like, girl, but like, really, come on, what else was there to it? And she talks. I think the other interesting thing was like she talks about how like her dad cheated a lot on her mom. And at first she did feel like, am I doomed to like repeat these cycles? And like, you know, there was a lot of like resentment in that.
Yeah.
And I think that was important for her to be able to like separate like the things that have happened to her mom and her parents.
And what happened to her.
And what happened to her, different things, right? Even though both of them were cheating. But it made me think a lot of like Beyonce, my queen and savior, and the Lemonade album. And like, even though Beyonce's never talked about all this stuff with Jay-Z, to me...
She put out that album, though.
That album was a testament to, like, what the work that she went through and even them together of, like, really all the stages of grief and acceptance and all these things and, like, you know, coming back through it of, like, building something new, which is, like, what Becky G hints at and she mentions.
Right.
But I feel like in a way that's kind of just, like, light and easy breezy. And, yeah, I just think that... you know, it's something unfortunately that happens with cheating and stuff. And like, I thought it was interesting when she said, you know, women used to be shamed for leaving. Now they're shamed for staying. And it's like, yeah, but also let's talk about the context of why, you know, because back then, a lot of women were stay-at-home moms. They were the caretakers. They didn't have a job or a career to leave, right?
Exactly.
So when they did leave, a lot of people shunned them because it was like, oh, you're significantly changing your child's life.
You're disrupting the family.
You're disrupting the family. You're doing this, you're doing that, which some people would argue still today, right? But I think the difference between when, you know, you say women are shunned or shamed for staying, I think it's like, yeah, because look at the context today. Like, a lot of women are actually the breadwinners in their families now. Women are caretakers and they're still bringing in money. And so I think now, funny enough, there's not as much of a reason to stay, in the sense of, if you love the person and you want to work on it, of course. But like, do you need to stay? No, you don't need to stay. You want to. And I think being able to talk about the difference in that and why is so important, especially to like people looking up to you and your fans.
Her younger audience, because people are going to think that's okay. And
it's like, well, he cheated, whatever.
Yeah, I'll just stay with my boyfriend. Like, and I know it sounds dumb, because I do think, again, it's not like I'm putting all this weight on Becky G on celebrities. It's not their fault. But I do think when you are in the public eye and you have such a big fan base, unfortunately, impressionable women or people are gonna like listen to you and take into consideration what you're saying. So it's like when you're telling people that, it's like, it's a little bit like you know. But it was definitely really interesting, though.
It was interesting. It was really interesting. And it's something that I've been thinking about the days after I watched it,
because it just, like you said, it brings up so many conversations of all these other different things. And just
about like, I really think it just challenged me to think about like, to sit down. I always sit down with my girlies, my girlfriends, with you, you know, all of us, and talk about things more open and honest with each other. But I think it was such a good reminder to me too, to continue to do those things, because it's like, at the end of the day, your decisions are yours and I will always support you. But I still want to be able to tell you that, like, you know what, you do deserve better, right? Or like, this wasn't okay, right? And what is being done to be differently, or like, or challenging you to like, you know, maybe you should go date for a little bit before you just jump back ship with the cheater ex, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I definitely agree that like, she doesn't owe an explanation and stuff, but I think if she's already talking a little bit about it on the podcast, challenging like what she shares, and also saying more for like that younger audience of like, but you know what? We obviously don't support cheating. And this is what I did to make him more accountable, or to reset the relationship, and blah, blah, blah. She kind of just threw like some therapy talk into it and was like, we put in the work and it's been time and we're past it. And it was just like, okay, well, I feel like anyone could kind of say that though.
No, agree 100%. So definitely very interesting.
Like I still loved it. I still recommend watching it. Like, it was cool to hear a lot of other things about her, and like the way that she works and how she thinks, and different pressures that she was combating as like a young woman that was, you know, the breadwinner for her family at a young age and stuff. And I think it's relatable in a lot of other ways for like Mexican American children of immigrants, eldest daughters, stuff like that. So there's a lot of like really beautiful context in there too. But that was just one that I was like, it was really, really interesting. And I was like, I definitely want to just chit chat a little bit about it. But if you haven't watched it, watch it. If you have, I mean, send me a DM, we can talk about it.
No, literally. But I think, okay, my last thing for my obsession report, which it's not really like a thing, kind of, but basically just Bieberchella. Like,
period. Bieberchella.
Watched it last night. I will not be at Bieberchella, unfortunately. I will be there in spirit. I've never had this much bad FOMO in my life. But I just amazing. Watched it last night. Amazing. I've been listening to Justin Bieber before Bieberchella. I feel like after watching him sing songs, I'm like listening more now after. So Bieber fever is real. It's going strong.
Real, it's still live.
It never left, but it definitely like reignited the flame. For sure. But I've loved like seeing his performance, and it's just been fun too, like being nostalgic. I think that's why Bieberchella was such a big deal for so many people. It's just like the nostalgia of it, and like literally I'm like, I've literally loved Justin Bieber since I was like 6, so it's like so fun to like just see and like talk about and remember. But
Yeah, like that
Definitely, that's on
little
my
page
obsession
you found
report.
recently.
Oh my god, yes. My mom was cleaning through like a bunch of books that she has, like her books and some of like our childhood books, and she found one of my old, I think it was like a Judy Blume book, and I literally in the inside the first page I wrote like my name and something else, and literally just wrote like I love Justin Bieber. Didn't spell his name right because I was probably like 7 or something, but it was so cute and it was just so funny. Like I was even finding like my mom still has some of my old like Justin Bieber like t-shirts or just like stuff I had because I was literally obsessed with him. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of you guys don't know because you weren't alive. Like I bet you if I told my cousins, it'd be like little cousins would be like, what? But like Bieber fever was real. Like I really feel like people forget like how big of a star he was. Like, and how he was everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like with the Miley Cyrus and the 20th anniversary, like how big of a star she was. Like, so I don't know. I've definitely, nostalgia's everywhere now, you know, and a lot of things in the media, but it's always fun. Like nothing's gonna work and market like nostalgia. Like it's just always gonna be fun to like go down memory lane and like see the things you liked as a kid.
Yeah.
So
no, his performance was super amazing. It was great to watch. I feel like, and he's just so handsome.
Yes, he sounded amazing.
Literally, he looked like he was having so much fun. We're literally manifesting that he goes on tour after this.
I know. Maybe
we will pay anything, but also please don't hold me to that. Please don't put the tickets.
Don't be like Harry Styles with $1,000 tickets. I'm still very upset about that. Please.
In
like,
what world, Harry?
Literally, no. I'm like, don't remind me.
Yeah, so we're still triggered about that, but Justin, like, we could get over it for you.
Maybe. Right.
Well, that was everything we had for you guys today in our obsession report.
Yes. Thank you guys for listening, and we can't wait to see you guys next episode.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.